The grand hall of Vaelora Prime was filled with bright golden light, but the energy inside was cold, colder than the metal floor under Princess Arala's feet. She stood alone in the center of the hall, her long silver armor glowing softly, her eyes fixed on the crowd that refused to look at her. Everyone knew her secret. Everyone whispered the same word, Barren. Because of that one word, every warrior stepped back from her. No one wanted to be linked to a princess who could not continue the royal line. No one wanted shame. No one wanted her. Arala kept her head high, but inside she felt the same pain she had carried for years. This was the choosing ritual. Every royal was supposed to stand with a partner, but she stood alone. Again, at the back of the hall, a group of humans watched quietly. They were only guests on the alien world, not allowed to interfere. Among them stood Captain Elias Ward, a human soldier with calm gray eyes. He wasn't tall compared to the aliens, and he looked almost ordinary next to their huge warrior bodies. But there was something steady about him, like he would not run even if the sky fell. Arala did not notice him. Not yet. Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud roar echoed through the hall, sharp enough to make the walls tremble. The guards panicked as a huge creature smashed through the side gate. It had black scales, burning eyes, and a roar strong enough to break shields. People screamed. Warriors ran to protect themselves. The creature rushed straight toward Arala, drawn to her scent, to her fear. And not a single alien stepped forward. Arala froze. Her heart pounded. Her legs refused to move. She saw the creature open its jaws, saw its fangs glow with heat. This was how she would die. Alone, unwanted, unprotected. But someone moved. Not a royal guard. Not a warrior. Not anyone from her own people. A human soldier ran toward her. Captain Elias Ward sprinted across the hall, ignoring every order from his team. Humans were physically weaker than Vaelorians. Everyone knew he couldn't stop the creature. Everyone expected him to die in seconds. But Elias did not stop. He threw himself between Arala and the monster, pushing her behind him. The creature's massive arms slammed into him, sending him sliding back, but he stayed standing. The hall went silent. Elias wiped blood from his lip and looked back at Arala. His voice was steady, almost gentle. I won't let anything hurt you. No one had ever said those words to her. With a final strike, Elias used a shock blade to bring the creature down. The monster collapsed, shaking the floor. Arala stared at him, breathless, confused, moved. Why would a human risk his life for her? Before anyone could speak, Elias turned toward the council, lifted his chin, and declared, If no one will stand with her, then I will. I claim her as my mate. The hall exploded with gasps. Arala's world changed in one heartbeat. The hall froze the moment Elias spoke those impossible words. Every alien stared at him like he had just broken the sky itself. A human, claiming a Vaelorian princess as his mate? This had never happened in the history of their world. Princess Arala's heart pounded so loudly she could hear it echo inside her helmet. She had expected judgment today. She had expected loneliness, silence, and humiliation. But she had never expected this. Not a claim, not a choice, not a human stepping forward when her own people stepped away. The High Council of Vaelora rose from their seats, their long robes flowing like dark waves. Counselor Draven, the tallest of them, pointed at Elias. His voice thundered. Human, you speak out of turn. You have no right to interfere in royal rituals. But Elias did not back away. He did not bow. His voice stayed calm. I saw someone in danger, and I acted. The council murmured, angry and confused. Humans were guests, not partners. Soldiers, not mates. Arala felt heat rise in her chest. Not anger, but something strange. Something she had not felt in years. Someone chose me. Someone did not look away. Draven stepped closer, his eyes sharp as blades. Do you know what you're claiming? Elias nodded. Yes, she is Barren. Draven said loudly, almost proudly, as if the word itself was a weapon meant to cut. Arala's breath caught. Every time they said that word, a part of her broke again. But Elias didn't flinch. She is still a person, he replied simply. She deserves respect. A shock went through the hall. Aliens whispered. Why does he not care? Humans choose Barren mates? Is he mocking the princess? No, look at him. He's serious. Arala looked at Elias closely. There was no pity in his eyes. No fear. No shame. Only honesty. The Queen Mother arrived suddenly, her steps heavy with authority. Her golden armor gleamed as she stopped between Elias and Arala. Her voice was cold enough to freeze the air. Human, if you claim my daughter, you must prove your worth. Arala's eyes widened. This was not normal. This was not allowed. But the Queen continued. Vaelorian law demands a mate must be strong, loyal, and ready to protect the royal line. The words royal line stabbed at Arala's chest, but the Queen ignored her pain. Elias simply nodded. Tell me the test, he said, and I will face it. The council gasped again. Humans rarely challenged even low-level Vaelorian trials. A royal mate test was almost impossible. Arala stepped forward, her voice soft but trembling. You don't have to do this for me. Elias turned to her, his tone gentle. Someone should have stood beside you long ago. For the first time, Arala looked away, not in shame, but because tears pushed against her eyes. The Queen raised her hand. The trials begin at dawn. Elias bowed his head slightly. I'll be there. Everyone watched him walk out of the hall, every step echoing like a challenge to the entire kingdom. Arala whispered to herself, Why would a human choose me? She did not know it yet, but this was only the beginning. The sun rose over Vaelora Prime with a deep red glow, the kind that warned warriors of danger. The training arena opened its massive steel gates, revealing a ground filled with old battle scars and deep cracks. Today, this place would decide the fate of a human and a princess. Crowds gathered early. Everyone wanted to see the small human fail. Everyone whispered, He will not last a minute. He is weak. He cannot win Vaelorian trials. He only protected her by luck. Princess Arala stood on the viewing platform, her hands tightening around the rail. She tried to look calm, but inside she felt fear she had never felt before. Fear for someone else. Then Elias walked into the arena. No special armor. No fancy weapons. Just simple human gear, scratched and old, with a small blue emblem on his chest. He looked completely outmatched. The Queen Mother appeared above the arena and raised her hand. Human soldier, she announced. To claim my daughter, you must complete 3 trials. Strength, strategy, and loyalty. The crowd roared. Arala closed her eyes for a second. This is impossible, she thought. But Elias only nodded. The first trial, strength. A massive Vaelorian warrior stepped forward, taller than 2 humans, muscles like stone. He slammed his hammer into the ground, cracking it. The signal sounded. The warrior charged. Elias did not try to block the hammer. He would have died instantly. Instead, he rolled aside, fast and controlled. The crowd gasped, not because he dodged, but because he moved with calm timing, not panic. The warrior swung again. Elias dodged again. Again. He wasn't stronger. He was smarter. He waited until the warrior grew frustrated, until his swings got slower. Then, Elias struck the warrior's knee joint with a shock baton, making him fall. The ground shook. The first trial ended with stunned silence. The second trial, strategy. Elias now faced a maze filled with traps, heat vents, moving walls, and hidden drones. Vaelorians used brute strength to push through, but humans used something else. Thinking. Elias studied the patterns. He mapped the path in his head. He timed every movement. The crowd leaned forward as he avoided every trap with seconds to spare. Arala watched with wide eyes. He doesn't fight like us, she thought. He thinks like a soldier, like a survivor. He exited the maze without a single burn. The crowd had stopped laughing now. The third trial, loyalty. This trial was the harshest. A hologram of Arala appeared in distress, surrounded by attackers. The test measured a mate's instinct. Protect or flee. Many warriors failed this test before. It targeted the heart. Elias reacted instantly. He ran toward the hologram without fear. throwing himself in front of fake attackers, even though they were only illusions. Illusions that still delivered real pain. Every shock burned, every hit bruised. But Elias never stepped back. He shielded her until the attackers faded. The Queen Mother watched quietly. So did the Council. So did Arala, tears gathering in her eyes. The trial ended, and the arena fell silent. The human had passed all 3 trials. Not through brute strength, not through alien power, but through heart, mind, and courage. Arala whispered to herself, "Who are you, Elias Ward, and why do you care so much?" She did not know. The answer would shake the kingdom next. The arena was still buzzing with shock when Elias stepped out of trial gates. His uniform was torn, his arms bruised, and his breathing heavy, but his eyes remained steady. He looked like a man who had carried storms before, and could carry more. Princess Arala hurried down from the viewing platform, her steps quick and unsure. She had meant to thank him, maybe just quietly, maybe only with a nod, but when she saw the bruises on his arms, her voice broke before she even spoke. Elias noticed her and paused. "Princess, are you all right?" Arala stared at him. "He is injured, and he is asking if I am all right." What kind of human was this? She kept her voice soft, almost fragile. "Why did you fight so hard? You do not know me." Elias shook his head. "I don't need to know you to respect you." The simple words hit her deeper than any weapon. For years, she had been treated like she was less, like she was broken, like she had no worth. No alien had stood with her, not even her own royal guards. But this human, this stranger, stepped forward without thinking twice. Arala lowered her eyes. There was something she had never told anyone, something even the council didn't fully know. "Elias, there is something I must tell you," she said quietly. He nodded, giving her full attention. Arala took a deep breath. "You do not understand why they reject me. It is not only tradition, not only pride." She hesitated, her voice shaking. "When I was young, the healers said I could not bear children. They said the royal line could not continue through me. Since that day, my people saw me as a failure." Elias listened without blinking, without judgment, without the slightest sign of shock. She continued, "No one wants a barren princess. No one wants a future without heirs. No one wants." Her voice cracked. "Me!" Elias stepped closer, slow and respectful, making sure she did not feel forced. "Arala," he said gently, "you are more than a title, more than what your people expect." She looked up, surprised at the softness in his tone. "But Queen must give heirs," she whispered. "I cannot." Elias shook his head firmly. "That does not change your worth." Arala's breath trembled. No one had ever said that to her. Not once. Not in her entire life. But Elias wasn't finished. "And if your people cannot see your value," he said calmly, "that is their weakness, not yours." Arala felt her chest tighten, not with pain, but with a strange warmth, something she had forgotten existed. For the first time, she allowed herself to look into his eyes fully, and there she saw no doubt, no fear, no hesitation, only truth. Then, lowering her voice even more, she said, "There is one more thing. I never told anyone because I feared the truth." Elias waited. "I always felt something was wrong with the healer's diagnosis. Something never made sense. Something felt hidden." Elias frowned slightly. "Hidden by who?" Arala swallowed hard. "By someone in the royal family." The air changed instantly. Elias straightened. Arala whispered, "I was not barren. I was made to believe I was." And in that moment, Elias understood. This was not just a kingdom with a cruel tradition. This was a kingdom with a secret. The moment Arala whispered the truth, the air around them shifted. Elias felt it first, a strange vibration underground, like something heavy moving beneath the arena. Arala sensed it too, her eyes widening. "The creature from yesterday, it was not alone," she whispered. Before Elias could respond, a loud alarm echoed across the training grounds. Warriors ran to defensive positions. The sky shields flickered and then collapsed entirely. A second roar, deeper, angrier, older, shook the arena walls. This was no ordinary creature. This was something that hunted royal blood. Arala stepped back instinctively, fear rising in her chest. Elias moved in front of her without thinking, raising his baton, even though he knew it wouldn't be enough. Stone shattered. Flames burst from the ground. A massive creature, twice the size of the first, rose from beneath the arena floor. Its scales were red, its eyes burning with hatred, and its roar was sharp enough to crack shields. The crowd panicked. The Queen Mother shouted orders. The council hid behind guards. But the creature's attention was locked on one person, Princess Arala. Elias saw it instantly. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Arala and the monster again. Just like before. Just like instinct. Just like breathing. Arala grabbed his arm. Elias, you cannot fight this alone. He looked back at her, breathing hard. I don't plan to fight alone. But the creature attacked before she could ask what he meant. A wave of heat shot toward them. Elias pushed Arala down, shielding her again. The heat burned across his back, searing his armor, but he didn't move away. Arala felt his body tremble with pain. Still, he did not let go. Warriors fired energy spears, but the creature swatted them away like dust. The Queen Mother shouted, "Protect the princess!" But Elias was already doing that better than any Vaelorian had ever done. The creature lunged. Elias pushed Arala behind a broken shield pillar. He stood in front of her again, always in front. Arala's heart twisted. Why does he keep protecting me? Why does he not fear death? But then something changed. A bright mark, hidden under Arala's armor, began to glow. A strange symbol, one she had never seen before. It pulsed with white energy, reacting to the creature's presence. Elias noticed it. Arala, your arm! She looked down, shocked. This should not be possible. Only royal heirs carry this mark. Elias frowned. You said you were Barren. Arala touched the glowing symbol with trembling fingers. I believed it. She looked up, realization crashing through her chest. But someone lied to me. Someone wanted me weak. Someone wanted me to think I was broken. The creature roared again, sensing the awakening power. Elias stepped forward, despite his injuries. Then let's show it you're not broken. Arala's mark glowed brighter, energy forming around her hands. Power she never knew she had. The creature lunged. Arala lifted her hand. Instinctively, a blast of white energy exploded from her palm, striking the creature in the chest. It screamed, stumbling back. The crowd froze in shock. Elias stared at her, breathless. You're not Barren, he whispered. You're powerful. Tears filled Arala's eyes, not from sadness, but from the feeling of becoming whole for the first time in her life. The creature collapsed, defeated by the power she never knew she had. The arena fell silent. Everyone stared at Arala the way they had never stared before. Not with fear, not with pity, but with awe. And deep inside, Arala knew this was just the beginning of a war built on lies. The arena was covered in dust and broken stone. The creature's huge body lay still, its red scales dimming as life faded from them. Warriors who once mocked Arala now stared at her in disbelief. The glowing symbol on her arm slowly softened, fading back under her armor. Princess Arala stood taller than she had ever stood before, not because she felt strong, but because, for the first time in her life, she finally understood the truth. She had never been broken. She had never been barren. She had only been lied to. Elias, bruised and exhausted, walked toward her. His armor was scorched and every step showed pain, but his eyes stayed gentle, calm, like he wasn't afraid of anything. Arala stepped close, her voice barely above a whisper. You protected me again, even when you were hurt. Elias gave a small smile. Anyone would have done that. Arala shook her head slowly. No, not anyone. Only you. Above them, the Queen Mother and the High Council stepped forward. Their faces held shock, confusion, fear, and something else, respect. The Queen Mother looked at Elias first. Human soldier, you have done more for our princess than any Vaelorian warrior. Elias bowed slightly, though pain stabbed his ribs. I only did what was right. The Queen turned to her daughter. Arala, Your power awakened because something inside you was blocked. Someone hid your true nature from you. Arala felt anger rise like fire, but Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. Soft, grounding. You can face that truth, he murmured, but not with anger, with strength. She nodded. The queen continued. Your mark proves you are capable of producing heirs. Whoever told you otherwise committed a grave betrayal. The crowd gasped. The lie had shaped years of cruelty. Now the truth had changed everything. The queen lifted her chin. According to Vaelorian law, a mate who awakens royal power must be recognized. All eyes turned to the human. Elias did not flinch. Counselor Dravan stepped forward, furious. He is not one of us. He cannot be a royal mate. But the queen raised her hand sharply. Yet he did what none of us did. She looked at Elias. He stood with her when she stood alone. Silence spread across the arena. Arala looked at Elias, her voice trembling with emotion. She no longer wanted to hide. Elias, do you still choose me? Even after everything. Elias met her eyes, calm and sure. I never chose you because of power or a title. He stepped closer. I chose you because you deserve someone who would stand with you. Arala felt her heart soften, warm and full. Slowly, carefully, she took his hand. The queen mother nodded. Then by royal decree, Captain Elias Ward is officially recognized as the mate of Princess Arala. The crowd erupted, some in shock, some in anger, many in awe. But Arala didn't look at them. She looked only at the human who had changed her fate. I was rejected by my own people, she whispered softly, but chosen by you. Elias squeezed her hand gently, and I will choose you again every time. The sun fell behind the arena walls, lighting them in gold. A new future began, for a princess who was never broken, and a human who never looked away.